So now we'll actually start making stuff in Fusion 360, and we'll start by making very simple line diagrams. So here I have my Fusion 360 software, and here to start making stuff you need to go to this model workspace. So make sure you're in model workspace. If you have any other workspace active, just change it to model. Now the first thing that you need to do here is select a plane on which you will make the sketch. So I'll click on this create sketch option from the sketch panel, and now Fusion will highlight these three planes. So this plane is XY. As you can see, X is mentioned with the red axis and Y with the green, so that's XY plane. This plane is YZ because this blue is the Z axis and this green one is again Y, and this plane is XZ. So here is the red one with X and the blue one with Y. So you can select from any of these three planes for making your geometry. In this case, I'll start with this one, the XY plane. So I'll click on it, and now the Fusion will reorient your drawing space, and XY will become the top view on which you can now make your sketches. On the view cube also you will see XY plane. Z is currently pointing outside, so we are in the XY plane. Now I'll start with the line command. The line command is right here on the sketch panel, so you can click here to start the command, or you can also use its shortcut L. So type L and the line command will start. You can also right click and go to sketch and select line. You can also use the shortcut menu, and for that type S, and from this shortcut panel or shortcut menu select the line command. If you don't have this line command in the shortcut menu, then go to the search box and search for it. So just type line and it will show you the similar commands. Select line, click on it, the command will start. So you can select any of these methods, and throughout this course I'll be using a combination of all of these methods. So I'm going to press escape key to exit out of every active command, and now I'll go to this line, and now I'll start by making line from this point, which is the origin or the intersection of X and Y axis. Alright, now we can make this rubber bending line, and when you move your line further away from that origin, you'll notice that now we have this length marker with this length field and also this angle marker with the angle field. So this will give you a visual clue as to what you're getting in your drawing. So you have the length as well as the angle. Now you can type the values right here, or you can also make a geometry and then add values later on. In this case, I'll just type in my values. So I'm going to type 60 as the length, and now I'll press tab key. So the length is now locked to 60 degrees, and if you move your cursor, you'll notice that now the line will rotate to different angles, but the length will remain constant. It will now remain fixed at 60 unit. You'll also see this padlock icon right next to the length. Alright, now you can type the angles. So I'm going to type 45 and I'll press enter. And here we have it. So 60, 45, and there we have it. That's the line which we needed. So it's pretty basic. The steps are very easy for making this sketch, but to explain this, I'll use this drawing. So this pretty basic sketch of simple lines, and we'll make it using line command. So I'm going to go to line tool, and again I'll start from origin. That's this point. Now we'll start from this point of the sketch, the lower left corner, and gradually we'll complete this. So first I'm going to make a very rough estimation of what our geometry might look like. So here in this case the bottom length is 46 units, so I'll try to approximately make a line of similar length. So here it is 48, that's fine. 47 is also fine for this. Just don't try to be very precise. Make sure your dimensions are as close as possible, but you don't need to be very precise. So I'm gonna click here the 46 line, and then this one, well, this is approximately 42, so this should be fine. Then this, then this, and this, then here, and here, and here, and here, here, and we need to just make sure that this line is exactly in the direction of this origin. So for this, you need to apply some constraints. So now instead of clicking anywhere, move your cursor to the origin and then don't click, just hover your cursor and then move it upwards. Now it will track that point, and if you click it now, it will make it perfectly in line with that origin. So click finally at the origin and you'll have your drawing. Now this drawing has a lot of constraints or restrictions, whatever you want to call that. Mostly we'll call it constraints in this course. So after finishing this, just press escape and now you'll notice all of these tiny signs. So these are all the constraints, and actually in this case these are perpendicular constraints. So these constraints will ensure that your drawing will remain perpendicular at these points. There are also other constraints like coincident constraint. If you just hover your cursor over any of these vertices, you'll notice that we have another constraint called coincident. Now this constraint will ensure that these two lines remain connected here. We'll talk about constraints in another video of this section, but for now you can just make a note that these constraints are restrictions which are added to your drawing, and they help in keeping the geometry unchanged. So now you can just grab one of these lines, just move it around. Look at this, it will move, but it will always remain perpendicular no matter what. So you can change the dimensions but not the geometry. Alright, now let's make it precise as per our drawing. Now to do that, you need to add dimensional constraint. So to add the dimensional constraint, you can go to sketch and select this sketch dimension. Now here is the shortcut for sketch dimension, which is D. So instead of selecting this tool, you can also type D to activate the dimensional constraint. So for now, I'm going to click here, sketch dimension, and now look at this. On my cursor, I have the dimension sign. Now I'm going to start from this horizontal line. And here we have a horizontal constraint also. So that means this line will always remain horizontal. So I'm going to click here, and now look at this. It automatically grabbed another point. That's because this one was already selected. So just press escape and escape again because this is still selected. Okay, now we are back to default, and I'm going to go to sketch dimension. I'll select this line. All right, and now we have the constraint. So click and let go. So this is 47, but this should be 46. So double click on this and change it to 46 and press enter, and the drawing will automatically change. Now I'll click on this line here and now change this dimension. So double click on this one as well and make it 42 and enter. All right, we need to change an angle here as well. So for that, click on this line and click on this line, and now the dimensional constraint will change to this angle constraint. All right, click here. This angle is 144. So double click and change it to 144 and press enter. All right, and now you can clearly see how our drawing is also changing as per the constraints which we are now applying. So let's move ahead and apply more constraints. So I'll click here, and this is 20. So double click 20. Then this one is 10. So I'll double click here and 10. Now this length is 30 and this one is 50. So from this point to this point, so I'm clicking on this line, then just let go, just click let go, then click here and let go and click again, and this length is 50. All right, now from this point to this point, so click on this line, then this line. All right, now this length is 18. So double click 18, and this one is 18.34. So I'm going to double click. All right, this length is 44. So click and double click here. Let's make it 44. All right, and finally this is 9.78. So let's add it here. So 9.78, and now something will happen. So up to this point our drawing was blue, but now the complete drawing is black. Now the blue drawing indicates degrees of freedom, or in simple terms you can say that blue sketches indicate that your line or your geometry can move in space. But in this case, the black sketch or the black 2D geometry indicates that it is completely constrained and it cannot move in any other direction. So you don't need any more constraints and the drawing is now complete. If you try to add an angle here, we don't have any angle, but that angle is also not needed. So let's try add an angle. And I'm going to click here. So look at this. Fusion will give you this kind of warning. So that's because we don't need any more angles or any other constraint. So you just need to click OK if you want to keep that as a simple dimension that won't drive your geometry, or you can click on cancel to just get rid of that. So I'm going to just now press escape, and here we have the drawing, the fully constrained simple drawing made with line command. And this will be the general workflow of making drawings in Fusion 360.